And welcome in, folks. You know who it is. It is your host, Jesse Muller, aka J Muller 5. And we are on our week 13 Thursday night football sleeper picks. Unfortunately, as you see, there is no Proof Patel. He is flying cross country to California at the moment, so he's unable to make the show. He did send in his picks, so we're going to go over his picks. And I do apologize if you hear my daughter screaming in the background. She's watching Home Alone 1, her new favorite movie. It's instituted this holiday season, and she's absolutely thrilled with the movie, so she's beyond ecstatic. So we're having her watch that movie to kind of entertain her for a little bit while we do these sleeper picks. So I want to talk about this game for a little bit. Before we jump into the sleeper picks, we have two teams in different spectrums of the NFL universe at the moment. We have the Seahawks, who are really in a slide, trying to avoid to fall to 500. They are currently 6-5, and this week is just looking rough for Seahawks, folks. Like I as much as a fan as the team I am, it's just been the vibes are all time bad. I don't really know how they fix all of their issues they have right now because Gino's struggling, the offense is struggling, the O-line's not really generating pressures, the defense is struggling on the flip side, like they're not getting off the ball. It's more of the same issues we've seen from them all season, right? So third down's been the biggest issue. They can't get off the field on defense, and on the flip side, third downs, like they can't continue drives. And if you do that, it's a nightmare for just a nightmare situation, right? Because what happens? You really don't extend plays. You work your defense out, and they just get gassed. And we've seen this time and time again with them. So you would like them to fix it, but it's a tough matchup because the Cowboys are playing some of the best football in the league right now. They are 8-3. They've just been fantastic. They've caught fire, and Dak Prescott is the NFL MVP at the moment. I know people want to talk about Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Dak Prescott's playing the best football of any quarterback in the league over Brock Purdy, all of those guys. He's top 2 in EPA. He's number 1 in like bad throw rate, which is like good. So he's like the best in big throw rate, or it's like highlight throw rate. He's number 1 in that too. So he's like creating the least amount of bad throws for his offense, and he's creating the most amount of best throws for his skill position player. So like you put those two things together, and yeah, it's magic. Now some of you might be asking why there's a photo of Tony Romo on my green screen, and anybody who's a Seahawks fan remembers this play. The old fumble Rooski from Tony Romo. Were they going to win in the playoffs? Romo dropped it, and they lost that game tackled by Jordan Babin at the 1-yard line. What a time to be alive for Seahawks fans. We would very much love to go to the back to that this week. The game is in Dallas. The Seahawks are like a 10-point dog, pretty much. I think it's 9.5. Let me double check and we'll look at this really quick. But yeah, they're basically double-digit road dogs, and it's going to be very difficult for them to overcome this in this game. So it's really the deck is stacked against them. Now you may be thinking like, yeah, they might have to pass a little bit more. Yeah, Ken Walker, it looks like he's not going to play. They haven't officially announced the inactives, but he's been doubtful all week. We're not expecting Ken Walker to play. So it's a Zach Charbonnet game. So you have Zach Charbonnet, who's a better pass catcher than Ken Walker. You've kind of seen it, how they use him. And his role has been elite. The problem is the offense has just been so bad. No matter how good his role is, it kind of limits him, right? So it is what it is. But like worst case, he's just like RB22 for me this week. I'm fine as I'm flexing him. If you have a solid running back room, or if you need a running back too this week, like he's good for fantasy. Really, Seahawks really need DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN to get involved in this game because the way this game is going to play out, the Seahawks defense just isn't good enough to stop the Cowboys offense enough. So like the Cowboys are going to get theirs on offense, and if the Seahawks want to stay in this game, they have to get theirs so that they got to lean on their big dogs like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Zach Charbonnet, Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is in just this weird hybrid role that he hasn't fully taken it on, but he's slowly coming on. It's just kind of, he's been fine, but he hasn't really stepped forward to the front of the line of that wide receiver. He's still a wide receiver 3 in that offense. Like, it's just been weird. And Gino struggled. Gino has regressed. The issue with Gino last year is he had a lot of turnover-worthy plays that they just didn't turn the ball over, and he had like positive regression in that aspect. This year, it's regressed the other way, where he's still making the same amount of mistakes, and defenses are capitalizing this year. So you're seeing Gino struggle more. The pressure, he's not as good under pressure this year. They're getting done. On the flip side, the Cowboys defense, their D-line can generate some of the best pressure in the league. They are a little shorthanded, so that might work in Seattle's favor. It's just Seattle finally has the line healthy. It really didn't matter against San Francisco. Like they couldn't do anything offensively. We'll see how it works against Dallas this week's. And why I wanted to hit on that, because if you don't win the trenches, it's just so incredibly difficult. Like you need basically your quarterback to play Josh Allen level, right? Where he's carrying you and guiding you into the win. That's really not Geno Smith. He's not that good of a quarterback. He's a solid NFL quarterback, but if you put all on his shoulders, we've seen him fall short more times than not in his basically tenure career. Last year seems more of an abbreviation. We'll see if it, they can still go. They still have a shot at the playoffs. NFC is not good, so Seahawks are still a playoff caliber team. On the flip side, the Cowboys, they're trying to stay within striking distance of the Eagles. They're 2 back. They've already lost the Eagles once this year. They need to win this game to stay on pace if they have any shot of getting the 1 seed. But if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be to them because the rest of the teams in the NFC just don't look up to the challenge. We thought the Lions were going to do it, but their defense just is not good. And you're not going to be able to make a deep run without a good defense, like we've seen time and time again. Good offenses, like they need help from the defense. So the Lions have that issue. The Cowboys don't. Cowboys have one of the better defenses. You look on both sides of the ball, they're top in EPA basically across the board, right? You have Dak Prescott playing at an MVP level. The defense is playing along with them. Like their corners are playing a lead, like they're getting pressure. It's all coming together for Dallas. I will say they haven't beat many good teams. I'd say their best win's probably Jacksonville, like against the schedule. Outside of that, they haven't beaten many good teams. So we have another shot for them to get a win against a team winning record. Here we go. Like it's the Seahawks. It's 6-5. They'll drop the winning record here, but like it's a shot for them. So I kind of wanted to get a sleeper pick. So let's deactivate some of these real quick for you folks, and we'll pull these out. So 1 sec. All right. So we are going to jump in and pull the stage. And the first one up is Tony Pollard over 21.5 receiving yards. And you might be wondering, like, why are we taking the over on the receiving yards? I think Tony Pollard's an absolute smash spot. I think he's going to take the over in his rushing, his receiving, and possibly get a touchdown too. I think these are all very good for him. And the Seahawks defense is getting gashed against receiving running backs. They've been the 3rd most receiving yards running backs to the 4th hardest yards per reception. They're running backs like the last 5 weeks. The Seahawks are just not good. And in the last couple of weeks, they're giving up a 21% target rate. It's just absurd to running backs at this rate. So realistically, Pollard's a good back. He's finally on the positive side of regression. He's coming through. So I really expect Tony Pollard to just be a bell cow in this game. He's going to get the work. They don't have anyone else really in that backfield. They have Rico Dowdle. He's a fine running back. You've seen Tony Pollard. He's finally coming back, getting over that injury, and kind of looking like the guy we saw last year. So he's getting the touchdowns. It's all coming together. So I really like Tony Pollard in this matchup. So you have him in fantasy. He's a high-end RB1 for me. He's pushed it in the top 5 this week. So we're all aboard the Tony Pollard train. Another good prop bet I want to hit on is the free money sleeper pick. This is just always money ones, right? When they drop the passing total down to 0.5 yards. So if you want to use the promo code FFLW, you get it up to $100 deposit first-time users on sleeper picks. Go do it. Go put the money on Dak and go get yourself $300. Obviously, you can stack them, go that way, but like this is just the easy win. There's no scenario where Dak doesn't hit this, right? So this is it's pretty easy to cover. Like I wouldn't even be shocked if he went over his total. He's averaging something like 321 yards in this fast. It's just he's been absolutely on fire. And a Seahawks defense that can't stop anybody, get off the field 3rd down. What do you think Dak's going to do? Dak's going to absolutely quit. Look at his last 4 games. They're 374, 404, 189 in the game they struggled. They won against Carolina. Back to 30-31 against the Washington defense. We're expecting more of that for Dak. So I like him over the 284 realistically. That doesn't shock me at all to deal with that. We're also talking about Tony Pollard over the rushing yards. Like Tony Pollard's just been very, very good. And it's a game script where the Cowboys are going to have a lead throughout this game, more than likely. They're huge favorites. He's basically since week 8, he's been top 3 in explosive run rate and 5th in yards after contact per attempt. This is just an ideal scenario for a running back to get loose. You have a good running back who's finally back to the guy we saw last year, and he's just really ripping off chunk plays. He's breaking tackles. He's making plays happen left and right. And he's in a really fantastic offense where they're expected to score a lot in this game. So it's wheels up for Tony Pollard. I'm all aboard the Tony Pollard trade. We're going to have 3 Tony Pollard bets in this one, and this is another one. So we're taking, to clarify for Tony Pollard, we're taking both his receiving over and his rushing over. So it's wheels up for Tony Pollard. And then we have the Dak one. It's heavy Cowboys there. The next one I kind of want to talk about is DK Metcalf. So we're going to chop about the Seahawks a little bit. Interestingly enough, the Cowboys' DVOA defensively is actually pretty good. So this is one I debated going back and forth on. Prue wanted to go Tyler Lockett. I'll talk about Tyler Lockett here. It's 48.5. We'll switch and we'll go back. 48.5 over receiving yards. Realistically, I know the DVA is good for the Cowboys defense, but they haven't played many good wide receiver 2s, and Tyler Lockett is still a good wide receiver 2. His target rate, his His yards per route run and stuff's gone down a little bit, but he's still been a fine player this year. He hasn't, I can see the age, 31, but like he can hit this total, no problem. It's a good matchup for Metcalf. Realistically, we'll get into that, but Lockett, it's not hard for him to hit this total. I like him. They're going to be trailing a lot. We're going to hit on the basically Geno Smith, his passing mounts, and talk about that in a second. But like the Seahawks are going to be in negative game strips a lot, so it's going to entice them to pass. And this is why Prue likes Pollard in this matchup for 48.5 receiving yards. Like you put it together, you go an offense where they're trailing, where they have to do negative game strips, they got to pass. You have a good NFL quarterback, Geno. It's not like those bottom barrel guys where we have Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, anyone like that, right? We're solid. And then you have a good quality NFL wide receiver. They still find ways to win, even against teams such as good as the Cowboys defense. So we like the Tony, the Tyler Lockett 48.5 receiving yards. I'm gonna leave the. We're gonna go to the negative. So we're also gonna take. Excuse me. I also want to talk about the DK Metcalf one. DK Metcalf has dominated teams with the highest man coverage rates this year, where he's gone 69, 67, 75, and 34, and 98 receiving yards in those games. And the Cowboys play a ton of man coverage. So this is where Metcalf really earns his targets. He's not as good against zone. He's really good against man. And he's got 29% target rate against man. And he's got 45% of the air action. I like this combo for basically for both these Seahawks wide receivers because they're good wide receivers and they can win against man coverage. This is how Lockett's going to get his. This is how DK is going to get his. So we like, even though we're not super bullish on Geno Smith in this matchup, with the Cowboys not being able to, we don't think they're going to get the same amount of pressure because the Seahawks line's coming back together. All the situations are kind of coming together for both Metcalf and Lockett to hit their props. So I like Metcalf hitting the 59.5 receiving yards over. Seems like a pretty easy one on this one for us, folks. So, and we also want to talk about, we're going to shift to the Cowboys on this one. So the next prop we're going to talk about in this game is Rico Dowdle over 19.5 rushing yards. Why I like Dowdle in this game is it's pretty simple. This one seems really good. There's no one else besides Pollard in that backfield that's really getting snapped, that's doing anything. We thought Deuce Vaughn or Malik Davis were going to be something. They're not. And with the one where Cowboys are going to really be protecting a lead throughout this game and winding down the clock late in the game, this is where someone like Dowdle is going to get some snaps and he's going to get his. And that's why you see this right here. They did this against the Giants 79, and you see this against Carolina as well. Carolina both these games. Didn't work against Washington. But I expect Dowdle to get the 19.5. So it just seems like a pretty good shot with them being so heavy flavored. They're going to feature Dowdle towards the end of the game, rest Pollard, let Dowdle get those snaps, and he'll be able to get the 19.5 yards. So this is why I'm in on Rico Dowdle for this game. The last one we want to talk about, Tony Pollard again, baby. And this is Prue's second prop. So Prue's first prop was a Tyler Lockett, 48.5 receiving yards. The second one, it's anytime touchdown. We're taking Pollard anytime touchdown. It's pretty simple, right? We have one of the best offenses who's expected to get a lot of yards, have plenty of goal line opportunities, and they have the bell cow batch they're going to feature in this game. This is how Tony Pollard gets his, right? So it's a perfect storm for someone like Tony Pollard. And why we're so bullish on Tony Pollard in this game, where you see 3 Tony Pollard prop bets. We don't normally go this heavy on one player, but this time we're absolutely going heavy with them. So like we like the offense, we like the situation. Their offensive line's been good. Tony Pollard's been generating chunk plays. He's just been awesome lately. So you see the touchdowns the last 2 weeks. We expect him to get his third one in 3 weeks, and we're just rolling with it. So like you see how this game may sound not like the best game from an NFL standpoint, but for fantasy, we have plenty to go on here. So this is why I like these prop bets that we have set up for this game. And being a Seahawks a homer, I know it's a little tough for me to talk about like this, but it's a 47.5 over under. It's not going to be a low scoring game. There's going to be points. Realistically, it could shoot out over if the Seahawks are able to really do what we think they're going to do against this Cowboys defense. That's really the only trick in this, the chink in the armor is the Seahawks offense. We think the Cowboys offense, which is basically the best in the league or one of the top 2-3 offenses in the league, we think they're going to get there. So no matter what happens, like we think Dak's going to get his, we think Pollard's going to get his. I think Dowdle's going to get some work in this game script, or it's basically a 10-point favorite in this game. That's how Dowdle gets involved. We were honestly tempted to take Lamb, but I don't want to leave a Lamb alone because I get the feeling why I'm going away from Lamb on this one is they're going to put Witherspoon on him. I think they're going to move Witherspoon around to take away CeeDee Lamb, who's been just basically wide receiver 1 in usage and points per game over the past, little over this last month, because the Cowboys have figured like, hey, Lamb's our best player. Let's get him the ball a lot. So we think the Seahawks are going to match Devon Witherspoon, who's been really good and hasn't given up more than 2 catches in the game when he's been in coverage on CeeDee Lamb. So I think they're really going to have to focus away from Lamb in this matchup. Like, he's still going to get his. He's too good of a wide receiver not to. But when he lines up with Witherspoon is very much like that shutdown corner aspect. He's there. So I think this isn't the best game for Lamb, but honestly, the offense is too good. Like, they line up in the slot, they move him all over the place. So we'll see how this works out if Witherspoon chases him around the entire field. I mean, if the Seahawks, you kind of want to do it because you really want to take away Lamb. He's their best. He just does so much for that offense. He's one of the best players in fantasy, and he's just been a stud the entire year. And you see McCarthy figuring it out, like, hey, let's use Lamb all over the field. So this is why we think that Pollard's going to get his, and he's going to get in the goal line. He's going to get the touches. He's going to get receptions. He's going to get all of this. I think this is going to be a high-end RB1 game for Tony Pollard. It would not surprise me at least. Cowboys at home, just look, they are just on a roll, and we are riding with this. So we're taking this one as well. So to kind of backtrack and go back over the bets we have Tony Pollard, anytime touchdown. We have Tony Pollard over 62.5 rushing yards. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Cowboys going to have a heavy lead. They're going to rely on Pollard. He's going to get his. It's going in a defense that isn't great at stopping the run, and he's just been awesome lately. So we're rolling with that. We're also taking Tony Pollard over receptions because the Seahawks get just destroyed by receiving running backs. So Tony Pollard is capable of receiving running back. We think he's going to get over the 21.5. We'll hit on the other Cowboy prop we have here. Dak Prescott over 0.5 passing yards. It's just plain and simple. This is a free square from Sleeper. Take it and run with it, folks. We also have the Rico Dowdle over 19.5 rushing yards. Why I'm in on this is we'll talk about the skin. We just think game script, they're going to bleed the clock towards fourth quarter because the Seahawks will be chasing too much. And who's this going to land? You get pull Pollard off field. It goes Rico Dowdle. He's been solid in his role as backup running back on the team. So he's filled in nicely, and I expect him to do his. He doesn't have to do much in this game to get over 19.5. I think this is an easy prop for him to hit. Won't surprise me if he hits this one early if they're mixing him in a little bit more than we expect. Now we talked about our Seahawks props. Tyler Lockett over 48.5 receiving yards. We think with the way the Seahawks should be able to use Lockett in this game, he's the wide receiver too. They're not going to be as heavily focused on him as they are on Metcalf. Obviously, I still like Metcalf a lot in this matchup because they play man coverage, but they get to disguise Lockett a little bit, and he can kind of eat because he's just a really good wide receiver too. And sometimes you just got to bet on a talented little player. It might not seem like the best situation, but we're taking him with Lockett. We're going 48.5 over. It's to take JSN in this one, but didn't really want to go that route just because, they've been better against the slot than they have been on outside wide receivers. So this is why we're going with outside wide receivers than we are in the slot. So Lockett mainly plays on the outside, same with Metcalf. You would think Lockett's smaller, right? Nah, he's always been good outside. Like Lockett's a true just NFL receiver. So this is why we're taking Lockett 48.5 receiving yards. And then we're going to go down to DK Metcalf, 59.5 receiving yards. We like that. The one that did not bring up on here is actually that I'm missing is the Geno Metcalf under 22.5 completions. This is the one I actually wanted to take the under for the Seattle Seahawks. I think it seems kind of shocking to take it, but he's going to have a hard time getting that number because the Cowboys have only allowed that one time this season, and that was Sam Howell. Sam Howell's the only quarterback to hit that. They've only allowed 2 quarterbacks to complete over 19 passes twice this entire year. So realistically, if you're looking for another prop, I don't have it up. I'm sorry, folks, I didn't upload it. It's the it's the Geno Smith under 22.5% pass completion. Sorry, I'm all over the place. It's been a long day. But yeah, we're taking that one under. So those are more the Seahawks props. So heavy Cowboys, no surprise, best offense in the league or one of the best offense in the league, going against a defense that struggles, and particularly in third downs. Can they fix it? I don't know. I would love to think that they can, but we thought, them trading for Leonard Williams was really going to help, but has not really helped out as much as they wanted, right? So we'll see if it changes for them, but the Cowboys lines come together. Their offense is just cooking. They're getting Brandon Cooks involved. You're seeing it like they're just getting our guys involved. Jake Ferguson's doing his, but realistically, I think this is going to be the Tony Pollard show this week. I think the Seahawks wide receivers, they're going to be chasing a lot, so we're not really in on Charbonnet. I think Charbonnet will have a fine day. He's just going to get the work. He's going to get receptions. I think he can get there, but realistically, we like Metcalf and Lockett on the Seahawks side. So just to recap, folks. Hey, babe, what you doing? Okay, 1 second, please. We're going with the Dak Prescott over 0.5 yards. We are taking the Tony Pollard over 21.5 receiving yards. We are taking the Tony Pollard over 62.5 rushing yards. We are taking the DK Metcalf over 59.5 receiving yards. We're taking the Rico Dowdle over 19.5 rushing yards. We're taking the Tyler Lockett over 48.5 receiving yards. And we're taking the Tony Pollard anytime touchdown this game. So these are the sleeper picks for myself and Prue and this Week 13 matchup between the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Obviously, I don't think the Seahawks are going to win. They have struggled too much. They've been too inconsistent. So I expect the Cowboys to win this game and win it fairly easily. The 9.5 point spread, I'm contemplating taking just them to cover. Like, I think the 10 sounds good. Like, that's like right where I would have the line. So since it's 9.5, I take the 10 on this one. I expect the Cowboys to win basically fairly easy. We're going to take like 34 to, I mean, it's a little high. 31 to 21 sounds realistic, but I don't think they're going to score. We'll say 31-17. Like, that seems like a realistic range of outcomes in this game. Don't really need the Cowboys to force themselves to do a lot, but they're going to get touchdowns. They'll have some field goal attempts in this one. I just think the Seahawks are going to struggle to score. And they might be able to move the ball, but it's just really hard for them to keep up with this high-powered attack that the Cowboys have. So we're taking the Cowboys in this game. No surprise, folks. As fun as this clip is behind me, those are not the same Cowboys. Those are not the same Seahawks. We'll see how this game shakes out. I do still like the Seahawks chance to make the playoffs, but man, it's looking rough. They need to win one of these games against the Cowboys, the 49ers, or the Eagles, because otherwise it's really rough for them. So we'll see how it shakes out. But overall, those are the props we have for you. I'm going to post them on Twitter here in a little bit and just list them out in detail so everybody can see if you want to follow them on Twitter, if you want to trail the bets. And we will track them throughout the game this week. It's been a pretty good year for us with prop bets. We're hoping to continue that on this Week 13 affair. We only got a couple more weeks till playoffs, so we were excited to go with that. So anyways, I just wanted to thank you all for joining me on this Week 13 affair. Remember, all the prop bets, we'll post them on there for you. And you can follow us, myself, Prue Patel, any of the platforms. You'll see us there, the YouTube page, FF Squared, League Winners, JMO5, or at the Prue Patel. And yeah, for the Week 13, folks, this is it. So I hope you all have a good week, and we will talk to you next week. So for that, I'm going to wish you the best, and take care, folks.